Hello, hello, and welcome back to Dream Queen. Perla here. Any questions as to what it is that I do? How do I do it? How do I come up with the songs, etc., etc.? Services that I provide. What else? Channel that I recommend, and people that I work with, I'm affiliated with, and all of that good stuff. Donations and stuff like that down below in the description. So we are back with divine energy, masculine and feminine energy. And today is going to be part 2. So we're going to be talking about the sexual energy. Now, in order to understand a little bit more about the sexual energy, you have to understand what chakras are connected to the sexual energy. So I know that in the first video I had mentioned the root chakra, and we also have the sacral chakra. So if we break down the root chakra, correct? We are going to look into the organs that are associated with. We can look at some of the emotions as well, but I am trying to focus a little bit more on the physical aspects of things because I feel that there is a lot of information when it comes to the emotional parts of everything. But it is not just our minds and our soul, or our emotions and our soul. We have to try and connect our mind, body, and soul all together so that we are able to live from our soul the entire time. So when we look at the root chakra, and I'm going to be going back and forth between my phone and some notes that I have. And now some of these physical aspects of the body are interchangeable, and there's a reason for it. So when we look at the root chakra, we're looking at the adrenal glands, the colon, the kidneys, the skeleton or bone structure, the muscles, the arterial blood that flows through the left chamber of the heart, carrying oxygen and nutrients to our body tissues. Now, when we look at symptoms that have to do with the root chakra. So those can be constipation, bone issues, leg, knee, or feet issues. Usually those are either cramping or pain or swelling. A lot of people tend to have a lot of water retention. Urinary issues, colon issues, lower back pain, inflammation, and cramps. If we look at the emotional aspect of things, we're looking at where is it? We're looking at fear, depression, anger, resentment. And I mean, you can break down fear into anxiety, worry, doubt, despair, suspicion. Depression can be broken down into sadness, sorrow, unhappiness, and etc. Anger can be temperamental violence, rage, hatred, impatience, irritation. Resentment can be broken down into bitterness, outrage, grudge, and ill will towards another person, being malice towards another person. And then we can move into like the positive aspect of it will be like the trust, the joy, the peace, and you can break those down even more. Now, when we look at the emotional symptoms, as far as like how they start to manifest, not just by what we're feeling, but we also have people that end up developing eating disorders. A lot of people just talk about like the lack of money or the lack of material things when it comes to the root chakra, but there's also like the lack of energy in general, craving comfort foods, desiring to be outside more because your body wants to ground, your soul wants you to ground, not feeling secure in life. And that doesn't have to just be materialistic. Codependency, and a lot of people get drawn to the color red. So then when we look at the sacral chakra, where did I put that? All right. So the organs associated with it, again, are the endocrine glands, which we have with the, we have the adrenal. So then we have the ovaries and the testes, the reproductive system, basically, the circulatory, the lymphatic system, the lumbar spine, the kidneys, which we had with the root, the bladder, which we also had with the, did we have that one with the root? I know we had the kidneys, and we had the colon, and the tongue and the sense of taste. Now, when we look at some of the physical issues, again, people can have kidney problems. So UTIs, people tend to have a lot of chronic lower back pain, sexual disorders, infertility, gynecological problems, dysfunctional menstrual cycles, problems with the intestine, spleen, or gallbladder. And if you actually look at it, there are so many, like the rate of people that actually get their gallbladder removed at a young age, like in the early 20s, between the, like when they're usually under 20s, is really high. I know a lot of people that don't even have a gallbladder at the problem. Um, and when we look at the emotions, when it comes to the sacral, we're looking at the desire, passion, connection, pleasure, intimacy. So when we look at all of these things and then we start to figure out why certain things are going on or why we're feeling a certain way, whenever you're in contact with a person, whether in a close proximity or a far proximity, depending on how in tune you are, energy is always being transferred from one person to another. So when I was talking about in the first video that I posted at the beginning of the month, and we were talking about why, in my personal opinion, and again, this is all from my perspective, from what I've learned, from what I've experienced, and from what I've witnessed, the world is in pain. And one of the main reasons why the world is in pain is because people are trying to fill or trying to heal themselves through sexual acts. That lack of self-assuredness, that lack of self-love is leading people to connect with people that are hurt, because they themselves are hurt. So when you're being intimate with a person, you are transferring one of the most sacred energies. And this is why we have to be very careful with who we decide to go to bed with. And because if you look at it this way, you may be thinking, okay, I'm only sleeping with this person, right? But how many people have you slept with prior to this person? And how many people has this person slept with before? And how many people is this person sleeping with at the moment? So in an essence, you're not just, if the person, okay, let's put it this way. If you're messing around, you're hooking up with people, you have just somebody that you're having for sex or whatever. That person is probably hooking up with 2 or 3 other people. So now you're not just hooking up with that one person. You're hooking up with the 3 other people that they're hooking up with. So now that brings it up to 4. So those are 4 different energies that you are allowing into your energy field. Now, out of those 3 people that person that you're messing around with is screwing, let's say those 3 people, one person is screwing one person, the other one is screwing 2 other people, and then the other one is screwing 3 other people. Now we have, that was 6, right? 6 people along with the other 4. Now we're into 10 different energies that you're allowing into your energy field, and so on and so on and so on. So that is why so many people are hurt and why so many people are in so much pain, because you're jumping from one bed to the next and just bringing all of these energies with them. And either, if you are a female, is being released into you. Now, when it comes to the male, a lot of people think that it's not as bad, but it's just as bad. Just because they're the ones doing the penetration does not mean that they don't receive the energy. It is just more that it's probably not affecting them at the moment or as quickly as a female would experience the symptoms, because of the fact that we are the ones that are being penetrated. So don't allow yourself to believe that because you are a male, you are not receiving these energies, because you are. And you can notice, especially if you're with your person or you're with somebody and the relationship seems to be kind of off, or your person doesn't want to sleep with you, or you guys are constantly fighting, or there's a lot of insecurities and things like that. If you are sleeping around, your feminine is feeling all of that when you're sleeping with her. And what I mean by that is, like, the symptoms that are yet to manifest in you are manifesting in your person. Now, what happens when we are trying to connect to our soul, which is exactly what is happening worldwide, regardless of who wants to admit it or not. Our souls, through our physical body, allows us to know that there's something that we're to be paying attention to. So what starts to happen? A lot of guys, and I'm not talking about guys like in their 50s or 60s. I'm talking about guys that are in their 30s and 20s and 40s, that I have actually had the privilege to have conversations with. And when we're talking about sex, and because I'm very blunt, like I'll talk whatever the hell you want to talk, and we'll use whatever vocabulary you want to use. I'm down for it. Like, I really don't care. And it is amazing to me, because it's like, I'll have these men tell me like, yeah, I can't even like get hard, or it doesn't stay hard with this person. Like, I have to think of this person in order to get or to function. Yeah, because your soul is trying to get you to stop sleeping around. Your soul is trying to get you to heal whatever it is that you have to heal within yourself, in order so that you can stop the cycle of literally like taking other people's pain and then transferring that pain plus your own pain to other people. Now, when it comes to like, when we look at society, men are supposed to be like the machos, they're supposed to be the players and this and this and that. And when they tend to be with just one person, or they tend to not want to have sex, it's always like, oh my God, is he gay? Is he this? Is he that? And da, 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 da. Like stupid nonsense things that really do not make any sense. But it's like I've said it before, your opinion of me is none of my motherfucking business, and that's serious. Like, I'm being honest, and if you don't like cursing, then this is not for you. But what I'm saying is, like, if we take the time to heal ourselves, correct, and we take the time to be abstinent from sex, until we're healed and until we find the correct person to have sex with, then that in an essence can help a lot of the pain and a lot of the anger and a lot of the lashing out and a lot of the broken family units and a lot of the everything that you see around the world. Now, when it comes to sex, I know that for a lot of people, that's a taboo thing that people, you either don't talk about it in your family, you don't talk about it in your religion or whatever it is. And it's like, sex is a natural thing. When children are born, as they start to grow, and I'm going to say this because it is the truth. And again, it's something that is not spoken about. When, let's say for a boy, for example, when they're usually like about 2 or 3, they start to notice certain physical things in their body, and they start touching their penis or testes or whatever, because it is something that they are learning. So depending on how old you are, you learn through different ways. So what would happen in the past? People would see a little boy touching himself, right? Like, he's just literally curious. Oh my God, you can't do the. Then what begins to happen is that he begins to become ashamed of his body. Now, instead of doing that, and I'm not saying, because I know people be twisting words around, I am not saying, oh my God, go into the room with your son and show him how to touch himself. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you educate your child from a very young age using correct terminology for the anatomy of the body, so that when they're doing something that is not supposed to be done in public, you tell them, we don't do that in front of people. If you are curious about your body, then you go to your room or you go to the bathroom and deal with it. Sometimes we feel that we have to control every single aspect of things. And this is not just with boys. This happens with females too, where, little girls are literally like, oh, whoa, what is that down there? And this, in an essence, if we learn to teach our children at a very young age the anatomy of the body and what things are for, and I am not saying the same vocabulary that you are going to use with a 13-year-old is not the same vocabulary that you're going to use with a 3-year-old. Okay. Alazina, shh, 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 shh. Let it go. Now, learning what terminology to use, there's a ton of resources. And no, I'm not pausing this. She can bark all she wants. It's learning. There's a ton of resources online. There's a ton of books. You can go to the library. You can go to Barnes and Nobles and buy a book, whatever it is. There's a lot of resources out there for us to learn how to communicate with our kids when it comes to the anatomy of the body and sex and things like that. Because a lot of the reason why people are having so much issue is because of lack of knowledge, lack of education. Lazina! Mommy said stop. You're going to get kicked out of the room. It's okay. Let it go. the lack of education, the lack of knowing, the lack of everything is what has led us to where we are at now. So instead of continuing to make the same mistakes that were made in the past, we have to start learning how to look at things from a different perspective and how to learn to communicate those things so that they are received the correct way. So when I was talking about, some people, some females or males, either or, it doesn't really matter, divine feminine, divine masculine, tend to feel their other person's symptoms. Now, that is not for everyone. So just because you're feeling something does not mean that is directly to your person. Every person will know depending on how connected you are to self. Now, before I was able to feel any symptoms from my divine masculine, I had to get in tune with my own body. What does that mean? Um, I have I had to get to a point where my soul was so connected with my body physically, and that put me through hell. I'm not even gonna lie. In every aspect of the way, it wasn't just like the sacral and the root. It was every single chakra I felt. Anything and everything you can tell me that you are going through physically, I've gone through, and I'm not even gonna lie. I have records of doctors. Like I've spent, I don't know how many specialists I've seen and everything, and there's nothing physically wrong. Um, and it took me getting in tune to myself, right? So what does that happen? When you start to connect to your soul and when you start living from your soul and you start allowing your soul to let you know what is going on, you, in an essence, you take control of your health, you take control of your life, you take control of your body. Now, people laugh when I say, yeah, I know exactly when my period is going to come down. And it's true because I am that in tune. My body gives me signals to let me know. And when I was younger, and even after I had kids, my period would last sometimes 7, 8 days, even 2 weeks. That's how out of control my body was. Now my period comes and it's gone like in a couple of days, which to me is like amazing. I used to be one of those that would be curled up in a ball, crying, fever, everything. Like I went through a period of like almost 2 years where it seemed like I had the flu every time I would get my period. I couldn't do anything. I was sick to my stomach. I was vomiting. I was running a fever. I was everything. And it was all because of my period. Now, there were certain things that weren't going on at the time, but I was not making the connection. So what was I doing? I was constantly going back to my gyno to see what the heck is going on, this and this and that. And then I got to a point where I was getting my period like every 2 weeks. And it was lasting a week. So I was constantly like on my fucking period. I'm like, what the heck? And they're doing ultrasounds and they're doing blood work. Now, mind you, with us heavy as it was coming and things like that, I had no anemia, no anything. My blood work was normal. My ultrasounds were normal. Like, they would do the sonogram. They would do everything was normal till they couldn't explain. Now, I have gotten to the understanding that a lot of the symptoms that I have experienced are not directly coordinated to myself or my DM, but are more to allow me to get the understanding of what it is and what is connected to the body when it comes to the soul, when it comes to healing, when it comes to shifting or changing things, and in essence to try and help people. So I want to make that very clear. So every symptom that you can think of, or every issue that you can think a person can have when it comes to the physical body, I have experienced. And at the time, I would just write down like what I was feeling or whatever, because that's what I was guided to do. But I wasn't exactly sure what was going on. And as things starts to happen and things continue to to come to the light, I am understanding more as to why I had to go through some of those things. So I guess what I really want to say is when it comes to sexual energy and healing, we really have to take that time to heal ourselves. And going into bed with somebody is not necessarily going to make you feel, it's not necessarily going to heal you, and it's not necessarily going to make you feel better about yourself in the long run. Temporarily, yes, because you feel like you either conquer him or conquered her. But at the end of the day, when you go to bed by yourself, you're still going to feel empty, and you're still going to feel like there's something lacking. So that's really like the main focus of the message is we really need to one, take responsibility for our own body, because we are responsible for our body. And that does not mean just what we eat or that we exercise. It is also what energies are we allowing inside of our field and inside of our body. Because um, the time for blaming other people has stopped. And I know that a lot of people are now starting to become aware of their aspect of what they did. To me, to be truly healed, it's from a certain area or a certain perspective or a certain situation. You don't just forgive the person, you always forgive yourself, not just for allowing yourself to give your power away, but also for what you did in the situation. When I talk about like healing, I'm always saying like, it's not just as simple as forgiving somebody and letting it go. There is a process to it, because in every situation, there's always two sides, his and hers, or hers and hers. And then there's always the truth. Now, the truth is not biased to one side or the other. The truth is the truth. So, in order for you to really heal any situation, you have to always take responsibility for your actions. Always. There was a video that I have posted where I have put consequences of actions and inactions. And, this is what we are to be teaching people. Yes, the readings and the this and the that is a nice insight to see where the energies are at and all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, we're supposed to be educating each other based on our experiences and what we have learned and how we were able to overcome certain things. Now, if you're interested, I have another channel which is in English, the Imperfectly Perfect, where I talk about my narcolepsy. I am going to be updating that page, that channel, because there's a lot of videos that I want to put up in regards to certain things, to kind of like have different resources for people to go to, and I think that is all that I wanted to cover as far as this right now. There's definitely going to be more videos in regards to sexual energy, and in regards to what you can do to heal, different herbs and things like that you can use. But if we look at sexual energies and like the benefits, so by sleeping around with people, you are decreasing the benefits of what the energy is actually for. So it improves your health. But again, if you're sleeping around, health is going to decline. It cultivates more physical energy. So instead of feeling more energetic, you're probably feeling more drained. It unlocks more creativity. So a lot of people tend to lack the creativity. Or what was the other one? So it improves your sex life. Now, it improves your sex life if you're doing it correctly. And if you are aware of who you're sharing that energy with or exchanging that energy with. And it allows you, to connect in a higher spiritual level, or helps with the spiritual development. And it also helps with the development of internal and material power as far as manifesting. Now, I'm going to call you out. What is it? Divine Pisces 222. Let me make sure I have that correct, because I'm calling you out. She knows a lot when it comes to manifesting through the sexual energy. I just want to make sure I have it correct, because my cuckoo face. Divine. I just want to make sure I have the, yeah. So Divine Pisces 222. I'm calling you out, my love. And so I would love to see a video by you on the manifestation of like material things when it comes to the sexual energies, because I know that that is something that you have mentioned in your channel prior, and I would really love to know. I would like to learn what you know. So, and I do this with love. Honestly, I do. Because we all have different pieces. And the more we are open and the more we share, that the more that we can all grow and continue to grow and continue to learn together. And that's really the goal here. It's like for all of us to together raise the vibration. It's not just up to one person. And I think I'm going to end it with that for now. Again, down below is going to be my other email. So any questions that you have in regards to sexual energy, any questions, just send them to me. On that email, it's going to be listed below. And if you go ahead and you watch part 1, any questions that you have, as we'll do it with that, I'm going to probably put together another video and get a little bit more detailed into things. Now, as always, I always say, always make sure that you can distinguish whether an energy is yours or your person. Some of us are experiencing the collective energy. So we start to what is the word? So we start to feel or experience the collective energy as far as when they're hurting. So you have to be able to distinguish that to know exactly which step to take. And that comes with connecting mind, body, and soul. And if you are interested, I do have the growth movement. We're almost done with the first group, which has been an amazing experience. I am just like, when we're like, what, almost 3 weeks. We're going to be starting the 3rd week. And I had received, I received a lot of messages, but there was one in particular where literally like her purpose and mission was basically brought to her stepdaughters. In other words, and with people getting their own answers, getting that clarity. And it is just all through having that connection, and becoming your divine self and living from your soul, living from your higher self. And that is really the goal here, is to get everybody to that point where things just start to flow and you start to see the manifestations of everything in your life, and not just in the material sense, if that makes any sense to you guys out there. But I'm going to leave this video here because we're getting there everywhere anyways. So always stay in tune to yourself to see where it is that the energies are coming from. If we're able to help as many people balance and heal when it comes to sexual energies, then it will definitely help all of us propel forward a lot faster, because a lot of people are stuck because of the sexual energies, and because they have no clear understanding or understanding exactly of what it is that they are doing, that it's not just a physical act. So that is it, guys, and I will see you guys real soon. Thank you for spending this time with me, and I'm sending everybody love, clarity, and strength. Bye. And